Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beyond the Build podcast. This is Tony. I'm here with my co-host and faithful co-pilot, Mr. Steve.
Thank you.
We're here for episode 3. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to cover a lot of good stuff today. Steve, my guy, how are you today? I know I saw you for lunch today, but always, let the people know. It's late March. How are we feeling today?
We are feeling good. It is great to not see any more snow on the ground. It is great that
Mm-hmm.
spring and golf are in the air, and that means golf balls are in the air, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a very welcome sign for what's to come for 26.
It's 75 degrees today in the Philly metro area. So if we're listening to this on a cold, rainy day, just picture blue skies. It's actually opening day for Major League Baseball. Phillies just won 5-3. We're both feeling great. It's gonna be a great year.
Outstanding year. Yeah, and by the way, it's 75 today, Saturday, supposed to be 43. So for all of you, if you're watching it on a cold day, don't worry, it's going to be cold again very soon. And then we're
Oh,
just going to go, we're going to go on the seesaw between, hey, it's 81, hey, it's 56. So,
it always seems like spring does that around here. We get a
yeah,
couple days that feel like May or June, and then it's back to a week of rain, you know. But it's good
yeah,
for the golf course. It's good for the golf courses. Good for the grass.
yeah. I think the grass was very happy with getting all of that moisture from all of that gross
All that
white
wretched
cold
snow.
stuff. And, you know, we welcomed the rain to melt it all. And now the
Hmm.
ground's like, okay, I'm ready to start growing grass again.
Putting winter
So,
behind us.
yeah,
Well, on that theme, Mr. Steve, you and I played golf a couple weeks ago.
yes, we
It was
did.
my first round of the year. It was a similar day, one of those 70-degree days that snuck in a week of 40 and 50-degree days. We were paired up with two people we didn't know from, I guess, the area. I didn't really ask them much about themselves. We didn't really talk much. They were kind of in their own game. But we had a good time, you and I. Turtle Creek Golf Club over in Limerick area. I'm sure some of the people listening know that place very well. But Steve, you've been there a few more times than I. You've introduced me to that place, and I think it's a good little go-to track to kind of diagnose the game early in the season.
The creek is the Turtle Creek is a great place to go because it's the kind of place where you always got a shot. You can kind of miss it both ways, and you can get away with it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, doesn't being a long hitter, short hitter doesn't really hurt you too bad, depending on what boxes you're playing from.
For
You know,
sure.
which
That
which I
was
think is which I think is a theme that everybody this year should be considering is what box should I be playing from,
mhm.
and be realistic and you know
What are you
don't
trying to
go
get
and
out
tip
of it?
don't go and tip it out like you're not helping yourself. Uh,
The starter even asked, he goes, well, blues if you don't want to have fun,
right.
whites if you do want to have fun. It's March, guys. Like in June, sure, maybe go to the Blues, which is one up from the tips there.
Yeah.
Blues played just under 6,400 yards, but with the wind, it probably felt like 6,700. Um, Pretty flat, but rolling kind of moguls here and there.
Yeah.
Bunkers placed at just the right spots off the tee, just the right spots off the green. We played whites about 6,000, just under 6,000 yards for the
Mhm.
day, par 72. You and I, we did all right. I would say for first time, it took a couple holes for me to get into a rhythm, but I think it was I want to ask you your favorite hole. We're going to get to that. I think that's going to be the thing. We don't have to talk about every single shot.
Yep.
But the cool thing about that is exactly like you said. You always have a shot, from whatever angle you're in. There aren't too many quirky holes. They're pretty much what you see is what you get. Not a lot of
Yep.
blind shots. So I was just very impressed with how well the greens rolled for early in the season. They were not punched. They were not very bumpy. They were pretty true. But favorite hole for me was 3. 3 is a par 3, very, very short. And I thought about this because I actually had a birdie on 10th hole, and it was just kind of a matter of luck. But the third hole, par three, 120 yards, it was playing, but we had a huge crosswind left to right. And there's a big severe shelf in the middle of the green that kind of basically sets it into two greens. Pin is up on the top shelf, back left, so to speak, maybe middle left. I took a wedge and I played 3/4 to just kind of hit it into the wind and let it fall back. Went hole high, left the birdie putt short, got some chuckles from the group, and we tapped in for par. But it was that shot that I was like, okay, cool, I'm back. Season's here. This is the type of golf I love to play. Not necessarily video game style, but I am using the wind. I'm using the contours. I'm thinking about shape. That's what really gets me going out there. So, Steve, what was? I mean, if you can remember, I know it was a couple weeks ago, but what was your favorite hole or shot that we hit that day? That you hit that day?
I'll tell you what, the par five number eight,
Mm-hmm.
because I actually played it kind of the way I actually wanted to play the hole. There were no kind of sideways shots. There were no like super recovery shots that I had to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a day where the driver was okay
Mm-hmm.
and the wedges were very good and the putter was pretty pretty good too. Um, Despite some shots that kind of fell in the middle, there were some putts that I made that I know kind of upset you a few times.
Because you were playing a lab, Mez
Yep,
Max, right?
counterbalance. Yep,
Super nice
counterbalance is
putter.
kind of my new thing. It's
Yeah, this is not your standard off the rack putter you can just go and find. This was designed by you, so to
yeah,
speak, right?
yep. And
And
it's something that I've kind of found, through just years of experimenting with it and going, nah, I don't need that. And then finally
mm-hmm,
just said, you know what? I'm going to try this and I'm going to really give it a serious go and really seeing the results from counterbalance. And I've tried other counterbalances since. Um, None
yeah,
of
a
them
lot of them
feel
are out
as
there.
consistent as good as this one. So listen, having confidence with a flat stick,
Oh, huge.
and I mean, if you can have confidence at the top of your bag, at the bottom of your bag, the middle of the bag, you can get away with.
Mm-hmm.
You can miss some second shots, you can miss some iron shots, but if you can get off the tee and you can putt, you can score. Um, there were some drives I hit that were, I was like, I'm all the way up there. What do you mean I'm up there?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't
Yeah,
be
there
up
was
there.
I think it was even two holes prior to eight. We were all looking at left bunkers
Yeah,
for you for maybe
yeah,
10 minutes. And I'm like, Steve, are you sure it's not up there? A good 20 yards up where no one looked. And
yeah.
sure enough, it was there. Eight's a cool hole. I had that in my head too, because it's basically a boomerang kind of look,
Hmm.
kind of like a long curve. Left is OB for half of it, and then you have water about midway through, all the way to the green. Green surrounded by water left, and then on the right, you just have a huge upslope into a bunker. I hit it into that upslope. I did not hit my chip onto the green. I ended up saving par. But yeah, fun hole. And just an awesome day. We didn't really try to get much out of it other than have a good time, maybe figure out some areas of rust. For me, it was 80 yards and in, around the green a little bit. But like you said, top end and bottom parts of the bag for me felt like it saved me. I mean, I missed a few iron shots that I thought were going to be great. Otherwise, they were not. So excited to get back out there with you, my friend, and continue to share fun stories from the course with people. But let's talk about putters, because we were even talking mid round, and watching you with the lab, not just the lab, but the counterbalance, like you said, this is 36 inches,
Yep,
37. How long is it?
36. Yep.
And do you know what a swing weight on it is?
Oh
If you
God,
ballpark, is it heavy as hell or is it not because it's
it's pretty,
counterbalance?
it's pretty heavy. So even with, I have 75-gram weight under the hands
A counterweight,
and counterweight, and even with that, I think we're still, I mean, somewhere between
E and
maybe
F.
E. Yeah, we're somewhere in the E's to F's.
Okay, so it's
I mean,
it's not light.
no, it's not light, and it's not, and it's also not those old. I forget the brand, but the
Heavy
old
putter.
heavy putters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that, right? Because with so much weight underneath your hands get so quiet that
Hmm.
all you feel are your shoulders just go back through and it just holds lines. You pick a line, it just hugs it. I try to remember what hole it was. I want to say it was three, four, is it five?
You made some putts early, some really
Yeah,
nice
I mean
10, 12 footers.
the par four that's kind of straight out and then, you know, hit a decent drive, kind of left side, and then hit an iron and didn't hit the iron exactly where I wanted to. I think I sprayed it a little out
Hmm.
to the right, and then ended up. You had made a comment like, "Man, you can't make. You're not going to make
Yeah.
this putt,
Yeah.
right?"
And
And I just,
I had like a 15 footer for bird. I think it was five. We're
yeah,
going
I think it was five. Yeah.
left side's out of bounds. We both hit our drives within a foot of each other. And we
Hmm.
both had maybe 120 or 110 in.
Yep.
And we're hole high, but I think you went right and you did make a miraculous. It wasn't a birdie putt, but it was you got close and then made just drained your par save.
Yeah.
Um,
It was. I mean, slid. Slid 4 feet right to left downhill. The second I hit it, I just started smiling because I was like, that's the exact line I wanted. It did everything I wanted it to do. All it's got to do is go in, and it went in.
that's what we
And
like.
between you and the other two guys, you're like, this is making. Are you making putts like this?
And it was you know one of those random days where you don't know what you're going to get until you're out there. Um, Putting wise, for sure. I mean, you showed
Right.
up 30 seconds before our tee time.
Oh,
That's not an
dude.
exaggeration.
No, that is
And
literally like,
I picked you up from your car because the
yeah.
parking lot's kind of farther away from the tee with the cart. And I told our guys, I was like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to snag them. So we drove up to first tee, went to the whites, and just pegged it and went.
Yep.
So yeah, no putting practice for you. I actually warmed up putting. So that's the funny part is that I spent about 10 minutes practicing, and I'm making, missing these 12 footers like by a good 2, 3 feet, short or long. But anyway, I'm the traditionalist. You know that about me. Even when we were at Club Champion together and we were doing putter fittings, when when I started with Club Champion in 2021, I had the same putter that I have now. That is no joke. I have experimented. Sure, I've maybe taken Spider ZT for a test drive 2, 3 rounds, and then nope, not for me.
Mm.
You've had me very close with Lab B2 back when we were working together, or Seymour,
Oh
or
yeah.
Adele. I was big into the Adele cart. I was really into Adele putters. Um, Bettinardi BB1 long neck. Is that what it was called? The face
Yeah, the
balance
long
blade.
neck. Yeah, the one that we designed with them. Yeah.
So I've always been into the not thin blade, but just a traditional long style answer two head, Scotty Newport
Yep.
2. And for some reason, I just feel so comfortable with it. I know where to get it on the face. I know my visuals are just super clear. I did put a stability shaft in it, a Tor
Mhm.
stability after maybe a year working at Club Champion, maybe even sooner. And what that did is it made it heavier. It went from, I remember with steel, it was maybe a D5 or D4, like typical, Scotty swing weight. Then it went to E0. So we probably gained 12, was that 12 grams in the head, two per point?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I still got it. All right.
All right.
Um, and it just kind of it swings itself. It doesn't feel loose. I was in Superstore the other day and I was putting standard steel and I can literally see the flex in the shaft. And you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, but that's where I'm at with my putting so far. So if it is a steel shaft, I have to let it flow instead of the stability. It just feels again more stable. But it feels stiffer and it feels like it does resist any sort of excess twisting. So it's all kind of in the spirit of science, and Lab I think is kind of that next level than just upgrading your putter shaft. Steve. In my opinion, I think that's where you are. You are beyond just the upgrading the shaft on a traditional head. You are, as wacky as it might look. If it works, it's going to work for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had more of a non. I shouldn't say always. I was a very traditional putter. I was a traditional grip. Always liked a traditional look. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not light enough. Let me just start just slathering lead tape on it to try to feel the head more. And
Mm-hmm.
then you realize, well, the more weight I put down there, it's going to affect how the shaft reacts. Well, that's going to affect how the head reacts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have this weight on it. Well, let me try this. And it was, I've tried a bunch of things. I would love to almost force you to try something different that's going to be more effective because we're seeing too many players even out on the big boy tours
And that's how I feel.
that are going to the mallet, that are going to more balance, that are going to more stability. I mean, there's so many options out there right now that if you just can't look at center shaft, the thing to counter it literally is going to counterbalance and face balance and
Mm.
having your hands more stable. You want that stability feel. And I think that's going to change how you look at putts just in general, not just
Yeah.
putting overall, but just you're going to stand over a putt and you're going to say, I want to hit it on this line. And you can keep it in that 1 degree window that's going to give you the best possible chance to make a putt, or if you miss it, it's going to be a higher quality miss.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going out and averaging 18 putts around. No one's doing it.
No.
Sorry, right?
No, I probably had 3 or 4 3 putts in the front nine. No joke.
But it's
And
not
it
it's not hard to do. First of all, it's not hard to do that, right?
true.
And then when you start, you compound that with going out and now you have a 1 putt or you have a 2 putt, then you have a three, and you can't let go of that three. So
Mm-hmm.
now you start you have to free yourself up. And the only way to free yourself up with putting, because I think here, listen to the statement I'm about to make. For all of you listening, please listen to what I'm about to say. Putting is the easiest part of the game. We put so much pressure on ourselves as players when we get to the green that we've got to make whatever that score is that we're trying to save par. We want to make birdie. We have to save double, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the time you've gotten to the green, it's not the putter's fault that it took you 4 shots to get there. So why are you putting pressure on yourself once you get there? If
Mm-hmm.
you can 2 putt and get out, 2 putt and get out. But don't blame your putter or your putting on, we're playing a par four and it took you 4 shots to get there because you hit a bad drive, you hit a bad approach,
Yep.
you hit a good wedge, and you didn't hit it where you wanted to. Okay, well now you're here. What are you going to do with it? So I think everybody could become much better putters by just removing the stress that we put on ourselves once we get there. It's
Mentally.
putting. No one has ever lost a ball out of bounds from the green.
Mm.
No,
It's
show me a tour stat where someone is a ball's going to OB from the putting green.
you feel like the what's the word? Just kind of the value of the shot becomes bigger on the green instead of saying, okay, I can miss this right 20 yards and I'm still in play. You can't miss a putt that far. You have
No, and
to,
no one's ever going to
no one's
miss a
ever going to
putt
do that.
20 yards right.
But why does it feel that way sometimes? It almost
Because
feels more stress inducing than a drive or a long iron for me sometimes, like an 8 footer. And it doesn't even
it's all
rely on the score.
it's the things that got us there is why we put the pressure on ourselves, is because I pulled that drive. Now I've got to get,
You got to make
whether
up
it's a
for it.
long iron or a hybrid that's got to get me out of trouble and
Mm-hmm.
then get me close. And if you didn't hit the green, now you got to try to hit a wedge on, and maybe it's a tight lie, or maybe it's just a bad lie. And now you got to try to manufacture something out of there. And hey, you know what? I just hit the green in three on a par four. Okay. Well, what do I have? I have a 20-footer. Tour
Mm-hmm.
players aren't making those 100%. You think you're going
Mm-hmm.
to? Okay. So immediately in your mind, just go, I just need to two putt and get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
If I can make the first one, great. You're beating the odds. But
Eh,
just get on the green, make two putts, and get out. And
That's
if
the
you can come with
perfect
that
scenario.
mentality, you can score. You can
Yeah.
score.
I haven't necessarily just adapted that mindset other than if I'm just trying to make par. But sometimes if I do hit one in a range I know I can make, or I low the line I can know I can make it, then that pressure is like, okay, here comes birdie putt. You're gonna drain this, and you miss it. But the one birdie I did make, I didn't even really try to make it. It was trying to make a two putt. I wanted to minimize the damage of going long because it was a downhill putt. I was while you were talking, I wanted to do a quick search because we had a couple bags we were talking about, professional bags, in regards to the next topic, which is fairway woods. But I'm looking at their putters. Adam Scott, have you seen his Mez Max, the green one? It says for masters use only on the bottom.
Yes. Yep.
That's insane. That's so cool.
Yep.
He's got a TPT graphite shaft in that. I mean, obviously it's the big 50, I guess it's a 50-inch broomstick
Uh,
putter.
I don't think it's 50. I think it's 40. Oh God. I want to say it's 47.
Mm.
Maybe I'm wrong there, but
He's been doing
I'm
that a
sure
while.
he's been, the guys that have gone to Broomstick that we've seen with success. I mean, obviously Adam Scott, guys like Lucas Glover,
Sahith,
Akshay,
yeah, Akshay, not Sahith. I'm looking at Sahith's bag right now. That's why
Saeed's he's playing he's
he's.
playing this offset. Well, actually, Finau's playing the onset putter,
Hmm.
but Sahith's been putting with the same thing for a while.
Yeah, he's
But
got a
guys that have gone to the
traditional answer.
long,
Hmm.
yeah, um, you know, there's a reason why they go to that putter.
Hmm.
Number one. And again, it goes back to if it gives you confidence. I mean, a guy like Lucas, who's someone that
Hmm.
I've worked with, I
Hmm.
watched him go from traditional putting to he grabbed onto the arm lock craze.
Hmm. Remember that?
And
Gosh.
I mean, and just looked stiff as a board. And until he broke through a couple years back when he started going to broomstick, and all of a sudden his game turned around dramatically. For him to see that kind of instant, instant turnaround in
Hmm.
his ability to make putts and his confidence to make putts,
Yeah, he
make
does look
big putts.
ultra confident looking on the green. It's that
Yeah,
stoic face of his.
yeah. I mean, and good. And side note, good for Lucas, like becoming part of the players board with the tour now. I mean,
He's
if
a
anybody's
stand up,
going to be, yeah, he's a
stand up
stand-up
guy.
guy, and he really cares about the tour, and he really cares about the players on the tour, and I think a fantastic voice for every member, every PGA Tour member should be thrilled that he is in that position. But back to putting.
Yeah, I mean the fun thing about this is I've just been challenged by you to experiment, and I think that's fair because I've played the same putter spec, same putter head, weight, feel, grip, even for going on 6 years. And am I a good putter? Not really. I'm not one that's going to make everything or have good days and bad days. It's just inconsistent. And it's not really read. I feel like I can read most greens, but it does come down to getting it on the start line, delivering it square and helping me see the line from address. So, Yeah, Lab has a ton of head. I mean, frankly, two that I like: the OZ and the this new Link that they have, the Blade.
Yeah, the
It,
Link
you know,
2.2 was actually the first putter I thought of when we were, because I had seen kind of prototypes of it
hmm
previously.
hmm
Now that it's kind of officially announced, but
that's the wider
2.2, because
one.
it's the wider of the two, heel shaft.
Yeah.
I think that thing is going to fit your eye,
hmm
and it's going to give you a little bit more confidence. Still have the technology in it, but it still gives you the blade look.
hmm
But I want you to go into, either Oz or, and probably Oz with the insert.
I mean,
I'd
yeah,
love to see you roll DF3,
they do it.
honestly.
They do an Oz with an L neck.
Yeah, I don't mind that idea either for you, to
With
be
the
very
heel.
honest. I think
hmm
the heel shaft, yeah.
I mean, it's silly, but I think it does help me aim when I have that square neck flowing down. I did have a
Yeah,
flow. I did have a 2.5 Newport for a long time, and I felt like I just was always inconsistent with face awareness.
when I would fit people for putters, a big part of how a putter sets up and how it gets, I refer to it as in your pocket, right? Like, how do you
hmm
frame the golf ball with the putter? Are you able to frame it with the shaft right behind the ball? Do you need something for it to kind of sit in that little L-shaped pocket that kind
Exactly.
of a heel shaft kind of provides for you and gives you that marker of that's where the ball needs to be. That's the center of the face, back through and just get out of your own way. Um, there's people that need to have that,
hmm
right? There's people that can putt with a bullseye. There's people that
hmm
can putt
hmm
with, the gigantic Adam Scott putter. I mean,
hmm
it's
Well,
whatever's framing it for you is what works best. Awesome.
yeah, that's a good point. Framing it, just address position and seeing where it sits. That's why I like the Link the most because it's very familiar, and I do kind of look in that pocket or that area, that square area,
Hmm.
the depressed area. That's kind of my visual cue. And sometimes I will literally take my eye off the ball and I'll just watch my putter blade go back. So I feel like I could use some help, some guidance, challenge accepted. Anyway, yeah, putters. We could talk all day about putters, but there's one more thing I want to cover today on today's episode. And we've talked about playing, getting the bag ready for the year. I know you're testing out new equipment. For me, my bag is pretty locked. I just picked up a Titleist hybrid at 18. It's TSR2. I was playing a TSI 3, the little peanut shaped,
Hmm.
and this thing just swings itself, man. I was hitting shots exactly how I wanted to when we were playing. I hit three really solid ones with it. Went to the range last week and I hit everything from high to low cuts to big sweeping draws. So club's a lock. But you, on the other hand, I know you're always rotating, but you told me you're going to nine wood. And I was like, I jumped out of my seat thinking, I'm like, number one, I forgot that they even make those. Two, they are on tour. People use them on tour. Professionals do. And I think that would be good for you having that extra length and the extra loft because you're kind of that mid ball hitter and that extra loft does help for you. So tell us about your 7 wood, 9 wood hybrid, you know, musical chairs that you're playing with those clubs.
There's certain parts of the gapping that just call for certain lofts. And when I decided that I was going to go from playing traditional 3 wood to a 4 wood, there's a very particular kind of fairway wood head that just sets up for me, face height, shape, all of those things. That's going to be, again, that's a confidence builder. And once I picked my 4 wood and said, great, this is the one I'm going to run with. Well, now what's the next club got to be? Well, it's probably going to be a 3 hybrid.
hmm
Okay. When I'm in that spot, I want to get the ball up in the air and I want it to go far. And for me, knowing that I am kind of a mid ball hitter, hybrid's going to fly a little bit low. So
hmm
what's going to be a better fill in that spot? 7 wood. Okay, perfect. take down from 4 wood down to 7 wood, same head, right? Same model,
Hmm.
same shaft, swing weight matching, perfect. I have the same feel. We keep consistency, great. The next spot's where it gets interesting because you got 7 wood at about 21 degrees. I've
Hmm.
got a 23-degree 4 hybrid. Okay, they're not too far away from each other. It's a couple
That makes
degrees, but they're
sense.
gonna they're gonna play different.
Hmm.
The hybrid I play behind that, I play a 5 hybrid because why am I killing myself trying to hit 5 irons? 6 iron's fine. I'm very happy with 6 iron. I'm very comfortable hitting a 6 iron. 5 iron, I could hit it, but I'm not going to be as effective and get as
You're
much
not
out
getting
of it
all
as I
out of
would a
it.
5 hybrid. So five
Right.
hybrid's pretty much a staple. But 4 hybrid and 5 hybrid are very good. Again, same models, same shafts, same swing. Everything build wise is consistent between the two of them. So I know what I get out of them. And I played around with the idea and said, what if I threw a 9 wood in instead of the 4 wood or the 4 hybrid? So 4 hybrid, sorry, again, 4 wood, 7 wood, 9 wood to replace 4 hybrid, then go to 5 hybrid, then go to my irons and wedges. And the results are interesting. Ball gets up in the air faster with 9 wood. Shaft's a little bit heavier, so it's a little bit more like the hybrid shaft weight,
Hmm.
which is also something that I'll share that story about being on the truck with TaylorMade and talking about 9 woods. But, you know, so a little heavier shaft, you got more loft. Ball jumps up in the air. You can hit it out of the rough. You can hit it off the tee. You can hit it out of the fairway. You can do whatever you want to do with it. If you want to flight it, you can. Thinking about flighting a 9 wood sounds really funny, but you can. Um, you can just do so much with it. You have all the same versatility that you have with a hybrid. You just get the advantage of it getting up faster.
Yeah. Just
So
starts in that different window, that third
yeah,
floor.
and I mean, there's golf courses that I'm going to probably go. All right, 4 hybrid, you're back in
Hmm.
because I'm going to need something that can really chop through something rough. If I go over and
Hmm.
play, if I go over and play Aronimink again, guess what? Hybrid's going to be my best friend because getting through some of that stuff when you're in it, hybrid is necessary, right? That's where maybe a
Hmm.
9 wood might be just a little too much club head to kind of really get
To
through it.
run
But
through it. Yeah. I mean, that's isn't that why hybrids were introduced?
yeah, I mean, that's what they
Um,
are. They're literally called rescue clubs for a reason.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but real quick note on the van story, getting to sit with Wade and hang out with him, and I've known him for years, and him telling us how they're building 9 woods for guys with 90 to 100 gram shafts and tipping them almost 2.5, 3 inches. And
Jesus.
I mean, they're pipes,
Yeah.
right? But those guys can, those guys can handle that. B, profile wise, I mean, it might even be like a 90 gram Ventus Red. And you're like, well, why, first of all, why would they even make that when they make it for tour players? So that lets them still have the profile they like that gets through.
Hmm.
I mean, they're building those things out there for those guys. Then all of a sudden, cut to whatever event it was where Fleetwood hits 9 wood to a foot. And everyone's like, well, what did he just hit there? And it
Yeah.
looked
What
like
club
some
is
sort
that?
of fairway metal. It's like, it was a 9 wood, dude. Like
Hmm.
it's a trend that it's not going to go away.
No,
You know,
and I mean, we were talking about Heavenwood before the show,
Mm.
and it's basically a 7 wood loft on a longer
3 wood
shaft.
shaft. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
three
three
wood
wood shaft.
shaft.
So it's like a hybrid, like a super long hybrid.
Yep.
Now we're kind of getting into, okay, well, what if we took like shorter, even shorter, like you know, what's the length of a 9 wood? Is it 41, 40?
I
It's a
play
hybrid.
mine at, God, I'm horrible. I play mine at 40 and a half.
Yeah, that's a 3 hybrid
So
length.
4 wood at 42 and a half, 7 wood at 41 and a half. Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to hit it because it's more loft, but the same. Like I play that length on an 18-degree hybrid, and I don't need a ton of height. I mean, I could use an extra degree or two, but I feel like 24 is just too much for me.
yeah,
And
I think I play it straight in. I have it sitting here.
is it tip?
It's with a,
Don't tip it,
oh
or
no,
is it a
it's
high?
tipped.
Oh yeah, you got to tip it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
looking
it's
at
tipped.
I'm looking at Tommy's bag, by the way. This
Yep.
guy is a sicko. He's
Oh
an
yeah.
absolute sicko. Just let me run you down the 5 different model types that he has at the top of the bag, including his driving iron. He has a 4D, which is
Yep.
actually surprising, but I feel like he always plays the newest driver.
Yep.
He's now doing R7 quad instead of the mini anymore, or the burner, the mini
Yep.
burner. So he's got
Yep.
that going at 13.5. Then
Yep.
he goes QI 35 in a 5 wood bonded 18
Mhm.
bonded. That's when they started making the adjustable like max style, which I did not
Yep.
like. So that's cool. And then he's got the QI 10 bonded, right, in the 9 wood at 24. And it's just, he goes from 18 to 24. The 24 is probably bent, right? Maybe 22, 23.
Oh, absolutely, it is. Yeah.
That's a 6-degree gap. But this is the kick. This is the fun part. He's got an old gapper low in the bag. The old black gapper low from, I don't know, 2018, 19. I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
He's tested other stuff, and you know, he's tried a bunch, and
yeah,
that thing just he know, again, it's one of those things. If he knows how to make it dance, like that's just going to be a part of his game.
that club was a machine. I remember that one.
Yep.
I had that.
Designed
Yeah,
off the old Adams. Oh God, what was that?
Pro Gold. Did they
Was
have a
it Pro
driving iron?
Gold? Well, they had that driving iron that came out when they were doing red. They had that. What was it? Was like almost a predecessor to like UDI.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah,
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
with
Yeah,
with a slot and everything.
it was like they called it a DHY actually,
Yes,
ironically
DHY. That's
enough.
correct. Yeah,
and it
yeah,
and
it
it
was
had
DHY.
it had a slot in it, an old school original speed slot, but yeah,
Hmm.
that was, man, this thing looked sick. The super hybrid, super DHY.
Yeah,
This was, I found an old post, 2013, that club.
yeah,
All And that's almost identical to what a DHY looks like now.
yeah.
Oh, here's the Pro White right next to it. The Proto White,
Oh, the
also
Pro White and the
small
Pro
peanut.
Black were so good.
Yeah,
Yeah, those little teeny tiny things that just had just a little bit more mass behind them. Was, I mean, again, cheat stick. So many of those guys, and they're still out in play. I mean, there's still
yeah,
pro golds out there,
yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
so good.
I think I saw that Andrew Putnam has
Yeah,
a.
Putnam's playing. He's playing an old
He's got
bot.
an
It's almost like the old
old Pro
boxer.
Gold. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
boxer shape.
the
It's
boxy
not
one.
even.
Yep.
That's crazy. Oh man, we're running down nostalgia lane, it sounds. And I think that's the fun part about this, is that you and I can just instantly call back to some of the greatest clubs of our time here in
Hmm.
golf retail and custom, and still seeing pros play them today is always fun too. Well, what do you think? Should we wrap this up? Anything else you want to cover today, my friend?
No, I think that's. I think this is a pretty solid day. It's good to. It's good to talk. Good to talk golf again, and with the season itself in full swing on television, it's good to see those guys. Today was a
Mm-hmm.
crazy day out on tour, but there's uh there's a lot of good golf coming, and there's a lot more testing, and I can't wait to get you in a different putter. And I urge everybody who's listening to this, if you've considered doing something to try to make your game just a little bit easier, and whether that's on the green or that's in the fairway,
Mm-hmm.
try stuff with more loft in the fairway, and try putters that give your hand, get something underneath your hands
Mm-hmm.
that's counterbalanced. And give it a real try, like give it a real legitimate shot. And I think you're going to be surprised with the outcome.
Well said. Well said, sir. Yeah, and you know, you're not a stranger to trying stuff for the betterment of your play, and I commend you on that. I am taking a page from your book on that, and like I said, hey, new hybrid's good. It's better than the 3-iron I was ripping for the last few years. I had that ZX for a while,
Yeah,
and it's fun, but it does one thing. Actually, it does two things. It goes straight and then really low and left.
right.
So we avoid that anyway. Looking
You know
forward
what? You know
to
what's more fun than hitting a 3-iron? Putting
hitting a
circles on the
green.
card.
Yeah, hitting a
Yeah, hitting a
green
green,
in the
putting
green.
circles on a card. That's way more fun than I have a
Uh,
3-iron. That's
that's
great. Stop it.
ridiculous. Yeah, I know. That persona is behind me now. So yeah, encourage you all to get out and play and give that new stuff. You know, put the ego away for the year, and you know, maybe try a softer flex or try more loft or try what you've always kind of turned away from. And for me, it's going to be a mallet putter. So we'll see where we go. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully, we'll see you before the Masters. We'll get maybe some more Masters picks up, and we'll talk more about how the bag is progressing for both of us. Steve, my friend, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for joining me on the ride tonight.
Play well, everybody.